Bruchim Aboim B'Shem Hashem, B'Shem Irgun Shiurai Moses Boston. I'd like to welcome everyone to tonight's shir. Based on whoever wasn't zeicher to be mishtatef for the annual dinner of Irgun Shiurai last night, can still take part and have a chelik in the botzes of Torah of Irgun Shiurai throughout the year worldwide by calling 718-851-8651 or email ist@yeshivanet.com, and you can have still be mishtatef in the big mitzvah of botzes of Torah derabim. Tonight we have the cover tablos once again Rabbi Elozor Menahel Irgun Shiurai to speak on memories and stories of the Rachmastrivka Rebbe Zatzal. I cover the corner Rabbi Bold for tonight's drasha.
It's good. I would also take the opportunity to follow Rabbi Deutsch's words, to thank everybody that came yesterday to the dinner and everybody that wanted to come and supporting around the world. I wanted to thank everybody, and it was a big Kiddush Hashem, a big covered Torah, a tremendous crowd showed up, and great speeches. And everybody could still help because Irgun Shiurai Elozor Hashem is going a whole year, and we can't make our appeal every day and every year, and we need people to help out for the whole year. And everybody that helps should be gebenched with all the brichas of Torah and aksiv chsimei Torah. I want to speak tonight, Elozor Hashem, about the Rachmastrivka Rebbe Zatzal. He was one of the biggest Rebbes in our time that was nifter less than a year ago, and the art it's coming up Chav Tes of. He was a Rebbe from the older generation. He was a Talmud of Rabbi Issa Zalman Meltzer, the father-in-law of Rabbi Aaron Kotler. He was a Rebbe. He was nifter 92 years old, so he was by the Belzer Rebbe. He was by the biggest tzaddikim. He was by Rabbi Yochanan Mekalin. He was by the Friedige Square Rebbe. And he had probably the biggest levaya in the recent years from any Rebbe, any Godel B'Yisrael in the last few years. The Skolena Rebbe and him, the Rachmastrivka Rebbe, had tremendous, because he had tens of thousands of people all over the world who got chizik and chiyas from him. So I want to speak a little about him. I spoke a little about him last year, and I want to say many more new stories that I heard and that I remind myself b'meshech the year of the Heilige Rachmastrivka Rebbe. Whoever knew him, his face was always shining and always with simcha and always anova. He was a big masmid. Litvish Shabachim used to go talk to him learning a Rambam because he was a Talmud of Issa Zalman Meltzer. But to get to know a little about the person, what he was, there's a sefer, a set of svarim called Imris Tahiris that came out, and it's very popular all over the world, his svarim, that they wrote from his divrei Torah that he said. And it was Pasha Shoiftim that the yard that comes out usually, that was nifta. He brings from Tfer Shleima, Shoiftim v'shoitrim titan lacha. A person should, for himself, be a good policeman. Shoiftim v'shoiter, to grow on yourself. A person has to work on himself. But on others, v'shaftu sa'am mishpat tzedek. On others, you always speak nicely and look with a good eye. This is exactly what he was. One of the special things that Rachmastrivka Rebbe had. And I heard from his Meshamash Bakoidish, Reb Shimon Greenwald. He was there with the Rebbe in the recent years in the room when the Rebbe took him people. There was a Yid that came from Cedarhurst. He didn't know Hasidim. He didn't know, he was a very American, a very plain Choshev Yid, but he didn't have any shaykhs. But he just came. He heard about this Rachmastrivka Rebbe Tzaddik. He wanted to get a bracha from him. But he didn't know how to even behave when he comes to Tzaddik with Derech Eretz. So he tells the Rebbe, what's all Rachmastrivka all about? What is it all about? You don't speak like that, But Rachmastrivka was like a father to everybody, and he spoke like a child to everybody. So he told him Rachmastrivka is garnish mit garnish, nothing but nothing. This was a famous saying, the Chernobyl Maggid, his children, each one took something else. The Rachmastrivka dynasty took garnish mit garnish. In other words, they don't even know what gaiva means. Everything was the same, no matter if 1,000 people came to him, a tish, or 3 people, he acted exactly the same. Garnish and garnish. So the Gabba tells the Rebbe, this person from Cedars doesn't know what you're talking about. You're talking about Groise Madregas, garnish, mit garnish, another on top of another. He doesn't know, he doesn't know. So the Rebbe so he asked the Rebbe, what should I tell him? He doesn't understand what the Rebbe is saying. So he says, what's Rachmastrivka? Davening good, davening well, learning well, never speak a bad word on any Jew. That's Rachmastrivka. This is what that he understood. My father's a Zangas until he's a Fushanim. I want to be masked his name, Ovi Moiru Shapsi Ben Tzidel is in the hospital. Shafu Shleim B'Sircha Shach Lisov V'Roiman Amen. He said over B'Shem des Friedige Square Rebbe was the father-in-law of the Rachmastrivka Rebbe. So when the Rachmastrivka Rebbe got married in New Square, he was the head of all the Moises. He was the Menahel. He had the children. So the Square Rebbe told him different than what most Mechanchem say today. That when he comes to verheer the Talmidim, give a test to the Talmidim, soll sehen, as a jeder soll kennen. Make sure everybody knows. Not to make sure they really actually know, but they should believe in themselves that they all are successful in the verheer. That's what the Square Rebbe Zatzal told his aide and son-in-law, and this is what he was. Everybody knows. Everybody should feel good in Yiddishkeit. By 36 years ago, when I made L'chaim, my father-in-law was the Shtickler Rachmastrivka. He took me to his house to make a L'chaim, and it was the yahrzeit of my grandfather, Beis Nissen, of Tzvi, Rabbi Yitzchak Isaac. So my father didn't know if he should make the vort and David the yahrzeit of his father. He asked my Rebbe, the Stolen Rebbe, and Stolen Rebbe said that you could make. But he mentioned it to Rachmastrivka Rebbe by the vort. So Rachmastrivka was always positive. Verkehrt, the opposite. It's a schos, that the Zayda, the same day as a simcha. He was such an honor. In the old shul, he sat in the bench and everybody, very simple to everybody. So when I was then, and I was once then in his room, when he took in his dining room, he took Kabbalah's call then. So one of my younger brother-in-laws, he was a small child, and in the room while he's going by the Heilige Tzaddik, he was a wild boy. He goes to the Sfarim and climbs up on the shelves to the top. My father-in-law and my mother got so embarrassed by the big Rebbe, the small child, he couldn't behave, he climbs up in the Sfarim Shank. Then Rachmastrivka Rebbe realized it, and he said, soll oile sein. Means he should go up in Madrega to Madrega. He took a negative story and twisted it into a positive thing. My son-in-law got engaged. He wanted to be with Rachmastrivka Rebbe. You saw the simcha that he felt with every Yid as if it's his own child. He sang along and he made l'chaim and he was so besimcha with each Yid. This is what he was. It came to Irgun Torah. I invited his son, who's the Lakewood Rebbe today, to speak. And the reason why I got to know him was only the last few years. I moved in that neighborhood, so I got to know him a little. But I'm a stolen chassid. But it's unbelievable. The little that I know is not to believe that we have such a person in our generation. I invited the son for Irgun Torah to come to speak in Stolen Bar Park, and I had his Einikel speak. So I know that tzaddikim get a lot of tzoros on the head. So let me a good word, So I went over to him and I showed him the flyer that his son spoke. And he spoke Valdik, Chassidish Torah, very nice. And this, he was such a simcha. Hagel Torah Ladira, Mizaltaka sein mechuzik, everybody should be mechuzik. And Yashakoyach, he gave such chizik to me. I wanted to be mechazik him. He was mechazik me so much that how choshev the Shiurai and Gavaldik. He gave all pismer. I go over to his son, the Lakewood Rebbe, today. I tell him, your father was so excited that I showed him that you gave a share. He says, no, not my father was excited that I gave the share. He was excited that there was a share Torah. Him is no difference who gives the share. This is what the father and son do. They think alike. This, I heard from a Yid firsthand that he used to come there to be Shabbos in Rachmastrivka by the Rebbe, the Heilige Tzaddik. But the Makava Rebbe, he's an Eretz Yisrael, the Makava Rebbe, he's a big Gadol b'Torah also, he knows Choshe Mishpat, and he's a big Mekubal, he's a big Tzaddik, a Makava Rebbe, came into America, so he knew him too, so he wanted to go to be by Makava Rebbe for Shabbos. But he felt uncomfortable because since he's always coming to Rachmastrivka, to leave him for Shabbos, even the Rachmastrivka Rebbe didn't care at all. Who comes, two people, he didn't care about thousands, it's the same thing, man. He cared about Yenim, but he felt for himself, he wants to go tell the Rebbe that he's going to the Makava. You have to understand, the Makava Rebbe was 20 years younger than the Rachmastrivka Rebbe. And the Makava Rebbe I was there once when I was in the block, and heard the Makava Rebbe came to Rachmastrivka and it was public. He wrote a kvittel and came to ask. He was like a chassid to the Rachmastrivka Rebbe. So he's going from Rachmastrivka to Makava. Listen what happened. So he goes to the Rachmastrivka Rebbe, tells him, I want to go away to the Makava for Shabbos, hope the Rebbe doesn't mind. Was? That's how it should be. You know how big the Menahel Rebbe? When you're coming to me, you should definitely go to him. You know what the Menahel Rebbe? I spoke to him when he was here. He spoke about a Hasog and a Yom Tov from a Rambam in Pashas Kiddush HaChodesh. The Rambam developed a depth into Yom Tov. Such a big Menahel Rebbe. For sure, you should go. That's where it should be, Taka. This is what he took his kvitlach. He was like his Rebbe, and he says, unbelievable. There's another story that I had. It wasn't a comfortable story. Somebody had a bacha that wanted to go to yeshiva, and Rachmastrivka yeshiva then opened up. It's not too old. He wanted to go to the yeshiva, and they didn't let him accept this bacha. Obviously, the bacha they wanted to start the yeshiva with a strong basis, and he didn't feel that he was going to help to start the yeshiva. So they called me. This young man, the father, called me as a Korah. He called me to come to Rachmastrivka Rebbe. Maybe he'll go together, me and myself. So I thought I'll go with him. Why not? To ask him, see if anything could be done. But I didn't know that there was a whole campaign. There's more people that were asked to come. And I come inside and they start talking that his son is yeshiva and what I mean. And Rachmastrivka Rebbe was a very old man. He didn't run the yeshiva. He was a tzaddik. He came give advice. There wasn't his department. And he was sitting there. He felt so bad to me. He said, Mamish, we have to find him a good yeshiva, and he'll be masliach. They don't let him. What could he do? It's always gebet, and he begged him, please, like forgive him, like you can't help him. But try. He goes, Mamish. But then the person, because he was so nice to Rachmastrivka Rebbe, so somebody there got a little mechutzav. Rebbe, it's your yeshiva. It's under your. You have to bring him in. I was so embarrassed. I wanted to run out of the room. I felt, why did I come? I didn't know what they're doing to me over here. I started going to the door, and meanwhile the Gabba heard already the commotion that they're screaming at the Rebbe. What's up him? He came, what's going on? So it became quiet. But there was no, Rebbe should help him. Matzliach, shall get the yeshiva, and after Zayn Takazin, Rebbe should help him. I was also zich that you're a vaza person, but he's thinking about the Talmud, about the Boruch. He's thinking about the Boruch. You know why I understood this Maisa? Because he said over, Rachmastrivka Rebbe said over Maisa from his Zayde, it's in a Sefer more, I have it in my house, the Sefer brings us down to Maisa, from Rav Dovud Rachmastrivka, that said over Mordika Maisa, which tells us what the Rachmastrivka Rebbe was and will help us in very much in our lifetime, how to deal with people. Now, Mordechai Kasbira, he went to Dubna. And in Dublin was a lot of misnagdim, maskilim. They hated the Hasidim, and they were ready to write for him, mamish to write for him. He said when he came back, the Ramotcha Kazmir, to his father, to Triska Magid, he told the Triska Magid, I came there, the mamish write for me, and mamish, look what they did to me. And the father, the Triska Magid, did not answer not one word. He kept quiet. So the person that came with the Mordechai Kazmir, his father, to the Triska Magid, says, yeah, I was also there. They wrote, what are we going to do about it? They can't let this be done. So the Triska Magid answered, this is all because the Golas. And he gave a mashal. If someone, Rahman Aslan, falls in a river, he jumps to catch any piece of wood that he finds. Maybe this small piece of wood is going to save me, even though he knows this small piece of wood is not going to help him. Why? Because you want to catch on something to be able to survive. She says, the Golas, the Tzaras, people don't have panos, people are sick, people have such a hard time. So they want to, if they think by screaming at you or by him, they'll be calm and they'll feel good. But it's all because of the Tzaras of the Golas. This is what the Triska Magid told. And this is what Rachmastrivka Rebbe said over the story. This is Pshat. Don't look at how he's screaming at you. He's a fatzaret person. Look at the other person that's hurting you. He's fatzaret. Try to help him, try to make him good. I remember when he was in the Mamish in the recent old years, in the 90, he used to give sometimes for Shmira a quarter, for in the summer, they went to the country, they used to give a Shmira. The only years he was very sick in that. So kids felt so comfortable to run over to Rebbe, they put a quarter in his hand, and I needed for Shmira, and they took it out. I'm hefka l'kol. That's what he was. I remember now we're going out of Tisha B'Av. I want to say one thing, that people are not makbid enough. Al pi halacha, you're not allowed to go to hot mikveh, anoshim, and some mikvahs just make hot mikvahs. Rabbi Gabriel Sinner spoke about it, but Rabbi Stone says it's an avul gedoyle So I heard from the Rachmastrivka Rebbe's son, the Elozor Rebbe, he told me his father said, "They'll take a kilo mikvah ben Tzorim. They'll see them. They go to mikvah. They should have a cool mikvah." I went this time. I went to cold mikvah. They don't make it. They made it cool, but I jumped into the cold water because you want to. Halacha is halacha. The 9 days. But in any case, it was Tisha B'av, and the meaning is the Shapi Yashla that by day you say again Eicha privately. Him and Rachmastrivka Rebbe, no matter what he was, he never let himself. He was sick as what he was. They did everything he did 50 years ago. There's no skipping. He did everything. So he said the whole kinnis, and they said it to him. He listened. He was very sick, falling asleep from his sickness. And they said to him, Eicha. And people, and whoever was in charge, one of the Shamoshim, I called them, but because he's like falling asleep from his sickness, because they knew he wants to hear it, so they zetzed him. Bothered me. But they didn't zetz him, no, like, because they knew he wants to do everything exactly, but he was sick. So they thought maybe he didn't hear it, maybe he did. I saw, because I came there late, the shul was very empty, because they said Eicha after all kiddush, he had a big chair in the back, a person wheeling him, so he couldn't see. I saw in front, he's going like this, after Eicha, he's going like this, what's going to be like Beis HaMikdash, what's going to be? They thought he's sleeping, he was sick, but he was geweint. And this is put together with another story, well, I heard this is a mind-boggling story, which now you see what a tzaddik in today's generation we had. Sus Young Leinu. I heard this from Rabbi Goren Ableiba Williger. The Rachmastrivka Rebbe oldest son, Ramotl, he was nifter suddenly once. His oldest son was nifter in Bechayev in the lifetime of the Rebbe. Rachmastrivka Rebbe was here Shalashudis, and B'shah Shalashudis here, suddenly his son, his oldest son was nifter. It wasn't shach to get in time to the Levaya, after Shabbos to fly to Israel and be there in time for the Levaya. So the family decided they're going for the Shloshim. They went for the Shloshim, and usually when somebody lost a child, and didn't come to the Levaya and comes to the cave the first time, they fall on the tzin, they cry the whole tsar comes out in 1 second. There's no time to hesped them, there's no Levayas, there's no kvura. Boom. That's the normal. The Rachmastrivka Rebbe comes to the tziyun of his son, his oldest son, first time, and with whole mishpacha, nothing. He says, tell him like all the time, that's it, no crying, no nothing. You don't see anything. The Alte Rebbetzin from the Friedrich Rachmastrivka Rebbe's mother was Mamish Oise Zich. And they came to and they told him, you have zero feeling. He was such a Baal Hergish. Every Torah, anybody came with a Torah, he cried with him. Anybody made a simcha, he felt with him. And his own Tzah, nothing. So listen to the answer, what he said. Rachmastrivka Rebbe's Chelken HaZeisim is the most expensive Chelken right in front of the Beis HaMikdash, the Har HaBayis. So he said these words in Yiddish. I'll say it in English. I come all, he's going to say here, the Rachmastrivka Rebbe said, kim da allemal zum Tatzens. He said he comes to his father seeing all the time over here. And he always sees the Har HaBayis. B'shas, he comes to his father's seeing. If now, when he comes to cry on his son's seeing, he would show on any more srakshas, a masha more than other times, it's going to look like Chas v'Shalom that his son is more pain to him wie the Shechina HaKadoshah. So mainly, he came in more than the Shechina HaKadoshah. So he didn't cry. Pile plum, we had such a tzaddik in our time. Pile plum. Not to believe, this was the Yid, Eicha, when he was sleeping, the Beis HaMikdash. A whole life he spoke about every day is Gabaton Beit Yishalayim. So, I'm trying to mention a lot of things that I remember. Lil Pesach Sheni, I went after the Seder to his Seder, the big Seder, and I came by the end. And what I remember one thing is, he said everything in the last years. He said word for word, the whole of God, no matter what, he just sang it. And it came to Sfira Saimah, we say it after the end of the Seder. And I saw him saying, we say V'yil Shem Yichud and V'yinoyam. When he said the word V'yinoyam Hashem Elokeinu Aleinu, Ma'aseh Yadeinu Kol, he was mamish crying. V'yinoyam Hashem Elokeinu Aleinu, Ma'aseh Yadeinu. I understood, I felt what he's doing is, you're saying that my mice and my mitzvahs should accomplish something on me and the future. It should do something. On myself, it should last, it should accomplish. Who am I? Who am I? Even though he's making the mitzvah, he's doing the mitzvah. That's how the hegesh he had towards the mitzvah. Everybody knows that whoever knew him, he put on tefillin for thousands of bachrim. Everybody loved to come to put on tefillin. You can have sometimes a day, two, three tefillin lanes before fire and davening. So even though I'm a Stalma Chassid, but my Rebbe is not Yisrael, so one of my children asked, where do you want to go? So he says, let's go, we're here in the neighborhood, let's go to Rachmastrivka Rebbe. So I saw that he put him on tefillin as if he's the only child he ever put on tefillin the first time. Did you say L'Shem Yichud? He asked him first, did you say L'Shem Yichud? Then he went, he kissed the tefillin himself, and he gives it to the boy to kiss the tefillin. Then the tefillin Shorosha same, he kissed the kesher and the tefillin, he gave it to the boy. Then he said the boy made the bracha, but he said L'niach tefillin. So Rachmastrivka Rebbe corrected him, it's not tefillin. It's tefillin. Tefillin, with a yud nun. Tefillin. So al mitzvah's tefillin, he knew how to say it properly already. But when it came to the pasuk in Rachmastrivka, the boy never said it. So he started, the ivra. So what did the Rebbe do that he shouldn't be embarrassed? I saw it. He said loud the pasuk that they shouldn't hear the child saying the pasuk. And it came to Varastich. He didn't wait till my son said Varastich. He said Varastich. He tied it into his hand like a kedushin 3 times. Varastich. It's Hashem. He kocht. And then he gave him a gift, a Moranayim, a sefer, wrote something inside. And at the end he says, Nishred with the tefillin. He smiled. Not to talk with the tefillin. He makes a big smile. Nishred. This is how he gets Musa. This is what the Heilige Rachmastrivka Rebbe did to thousands, if not 10,000 people or more. Kinderlach, the Meshach, all the years. Bris, and I saw the bris, and he sometimes 2-3 times a day. I ran like a bris. Each bris. But he used to say all the brachas without the shame. Any tefillah used to say whatever public saying, Kelmole Balavai, I remember. But I saw many times by a bris, he said the bracha of the moil, but without the shame. He was involved very much in the mitzvah. But what did I see many times? There was hundreds of different mayalim doing bris in there. And not everybody, he was old, he held a baby. And I saw him a few times, not once, how the sharp knife of the milah went onto the Rebbe's hand and became a cut. Of blood. He didn't move a peeps, nothing. It never happened. Chas v'shalom, not to hurt anybody, shouldn't feel pain. Later they put on already a glove on the right hand, it shouldn't happen again. But you saw his midas of not hurting a person. The way he ate by the Shabbos, his achila, how many bites he took. He only ate what's Suda Shabbos, nothing extra. Everything has exact cheshbon how he ate. He never bent down to the food. Every action that he did was what to learn from. But I love to learn from the Alta Tzaddikim when they get older. Then they can't hide what they really do. That's what I love the best. And I'll tell you this, when he got older, he used to give out mezainis. Shanaim, he gave out a whole piece of cake for each person when there was a simcha in the family, a bar mitzvah, something, he gave out mezainis. So first he took his piece, one piece, he made a bracha mezainis, and after he made a bracha, then he started giving out to the family, then whoever came, from the Rebbe, a piece of cake, which gebenched Zach. Because sugar wasn't good for him, he was older, but he was very sick, so he didn't know what's good for him, what's not. I'm talking about 2 years ago, and when he was 90 already, somebody grabbed, after he took a bite of Zionis, they grabbed away his piece of cake. He would not take a second piece of cake. He didn't look like, who took away my piece of cake? And he still kept on giving for 100 people. He doesn't have, because this is what Bashet, he got his piece of cake, and go right. Oh, I love to watch that. You got him! I would look at the guy, why? And he's not taking it. I had a piece. This is where you can see it. Always got the whole life to be in control, that it was controlled later as well. By him in the shul, he was a moidig about tefillah. The square Rebbe's Chanvacha, the Friedrich took him about tefillah for Yom Roam in New Square. Shvichas Alev. After the story with his son, he didn't cry out by davening, only by the Shechina. That's what he cried. They told him 3 times, the Shechina, but nothing about his sorrows. He was medayik on himself, every word, how to say it, which shnua. But in Rachmastrivka, they sang any niggin. If you were mechabed one person and somebody sang already the song 5 minutes ago, no problem, sing it again. Nobody got embarrassed. No such thing as embarrass somebody. Chas v'shalom to her to eat. Chas v'shalom, that was the worst thing there in the shul. They were chas v'shalom. I spoke to the Baal Tefillah, the daven for the Rebbe every day for the Ummah for almost 30 to 40 years. The Rebbe never ever told him, you did this, you did that. Never! On himself, but Yenim, Nishvei Tanayid. Shabbos, who could forget? All the kids used to run to say good Shabbos. They got this big smile. Good Shabbos to each kid. They were running to fight his you have to hear Kol Mekadosh. That was the best specialty. I love to hear his Kol Mekadosh. He said the Nusach. Yoim kudoshi mi boyoy v'yatzeisoi kol zera Yaakov v'chabdi kidva melech v'dusoi l'niach boy l'smer tanag uchad v'shusoi kol adas Yisroel yasi oisoi. I'm not on Strifka. I hope I said it right. But the Yom Kudosh, he said it with such a young, 3 years ago, when not before. Yom Kudoshi! When he said that, the whole place felt the radiation of Kudoshi. The day is holy. Mi boyev atzeiser, from the beginning of Shabbos till the end of Shabbos. Yom Kudoshi! Mi boyev atzeiser. Chayis, then I get in the kibbutz. Then take a chiyas. Rosh Hashanah, the Rebbe Rachmastrivka Rebbe before Tkiyas, Heilige Tkiyas, went to mikveh. Even if he went in the morning, he went again before Tkiyas. Tzaddikim, we don't know the Tanakh Tzaddikim. He had a mikveh in his house, and the new shul, he had a mikveh in his shul. He was already older. He was in a wheelchair. I don't know if that maybe happened before he was in a wheelchair, but he was in a wheelchair last years. So I don't remember exactly when it happened, but he was very shvach. They told him, Rebbe, go downstairs here in the shul, we'll take you to the mikveh. Why you schlep back home a block away, next block? To the mikveh, go here. He didn't want, he's going home. Rebbe will lock the mikveh only for you, go to the mikveh. He didn't want to say why, he went home. Later, when somebody in the family pushed him, please tell me why did you have to go home to the mikveh? Why did you have to matriach? He said, because he's told the Rebbetzin that when he'll come home to go to the mikveh, he'll already put the pot on the blech and make it for the Suda. Yeah? So he couldn't tell anybody because he told the Rebbe he's coming, he's going to do this. So he had to, Father Tkiyas. The Rebbe should have the pot on the thing. There's no 800 Einikel can't do it for him. He said, he didn't tell Chassidim first why he's doing it. It's some Hoiche Kavunis. Hoiche Kavunis, the Shomai is on a mensch. Thousands of people came to him. Yeah. One of his great midas was, he was always besimcha. Like I said before, the story, midas ishtavus, it's called. He did everything always besimcha in the Eibishter. He loved Stolna Chassidim because he himself, when he was young, he was part of the Stolna Chavrai Kadisha in Yerushalayim, 70 years ago, more than 70 years ago, 75 years ago. Rabbi Yochanan Mekalim made him the Rosh Chabura. So, he knew I'm a Stolna Chassan, I guess. And I once came to Sukkot, so they were mechaber me to sing. I passed by. So I sang a stoning. He was clapping with such simcha. The whole place was shaking. He loved it, didn't he? One time, I passed by, his Einikel didn't put a tefillin, so he gave l'chaim. So he gives cake and l'chaim. It wasn't a big crowd. It was the weekday. So they started singing the Simon Tov and Mazel Tov, the Stolen in Irgun. Ay, 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 did-it-a-lay, lay, la, la, did-it-a-lay, lay, 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 did-it-a, ay, ay, Mazel Tov, aha, aha. You know the song? Yeah, 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 la, 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 did-it-a-lay. So they sang the Mazel Tov, and just when they started singing that song, I gave him l'chaim. He held my hand for over a minute. They went like this. Lay, 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 for a minute. He held him. And I don't know what, I was embarrassed, but that's what he did. So he told me he never does it. Only by the Skalena Rebbe, and it happened again. The day he went to the hospital, I'm saying this for a point, to show his simcha, no matter, he was so sick then, A few hours later was on a respirator. That morning, he still gave out l'chaim. They held his hand to give out the cake. It was a simcha, and I was there. And he held my hand for half a minute. We were singing. And that night was already on a respirator. Why? Because his simcha was shining out, and nobody knew how sick he was. No matter how sick he was, he always showed simcha. This is what he was. And I'm going to show it to the point. I want to get the point and understand it. A year before, it took me over 2 years ago, Rachmastrivka was very sick. I passed by for Kiddush Friday night. He was coughing away. He couldn't catch his breath. He couldn't catch. It bothered me, but I didn't do anything. My son told me, Tati's really like that for months' time. He's sick. Nobody's taking care of him. So I got involved. I was don't worry. So I had don't worry. I got back. I went over to him. What's going on here? What's with the Rebbe? Yeah, he doesn't have a doctor coming to the house. He has a Torah member. They gave him Z-Pack. Z-Pack medicine. Now, if you know, it's almost 99% never works. It's a cover-up. The medicine I saw a lot of people, and they gave him, and they hope the Abish's going to help. It's going to work. Z-Pack. You know, all the doctors, they don't want to get you out of it. Just give you Z-Pack. That's the worst medicine. If you take it twice, maybe it works or covers it up. Sometimes it does work, but when someone's really sick, it doesn't work. For 5 days. And then after you start again, go get augmentin. The kids is, what happened is, they gave him, I tell him, the diabetes has pneumonia. I see the way he's cold, he can't catch his breath. No, I told him, I'll get you a doctor, okay? So there's a tzaddik of a doctor, he doesn't take any patients. And he talked to one, Dr. Robert Moskowitz. Das sein gesund und stark, a tzaddik of a yid. He's moist nefesh for all the gedolim, he took care of Ramoshe Wolfson, he took care of all the gedolim. I called him up, I knew him the Shon knows him, my father's doctor, he's tzaddik. My father's a refu, he's now the doctor, my father, the Bisham should be good shliach. I called him up, there's a tzaddik in our town, he needs to be saved his life. I can't have too much, I can't do anything, what do you want from me? I told him, I never asked you for a favor, please, the kid says, I told him he has pneumonia, give him shot. He got an x-ray and he had a very heavy pneumonia. And he came every day to give him a shot equivalent to IV. With next Shabbos, a week later, he was a different person. Mamish saved his life. He said, Mamish, he saved his life. So I feel I had a schus for over a year time that he lived. Unfortunately, last year I got to know him more. I realized that he's very weak, but I would like the family. Once you have family, you don't see the chesroinus so much, and unfortunately, we didn't catch it on time, and it was too late. Al Spashet. Why am I saying this story? He was so sick, Kiddush, the smile, nobody could see. I was an outsider, so I already knew, this is not normal. But hundreds of people, nobody says anything. Nobody says anything. Because his simcha was shining in the most biggest sunnahs that he had. Full of simcha. No matter what happened, he was the simcha. He covered up himself with simcha. You never saw him answers. There's no such thing as answers with him. Emunah b'tachem b'Hashem. Hashem, whatever Hashem does is good, and he was calm and happy at all times. I remember many years ago I passed by, not when I lived there, and he said Hakdomas on Shavuos. 1,000 people at least were there, packed till the ceiling, climb up. Hakdomas, Shavuos, Kabbalah, Sataya, and he made a mistake. He said over one piece twice. I thought it was going to be bad. No, nothing happened. There's no guy with garnish. I remember in his last year, he was very sick. But it's a chazik of him, it's simcha. He went over to the Torah and he made a bracha with simcha. Tzaddikim don't let atzvus be sharet on a person. Tzaddikim do not let atzvus be sharet on a person. This is what he was. Sabesan. I heard a story from the Stanislav Rebbe in Boruch. It could be I much mentioned it, but this is a murder Maisa in Boruch, I mentioned. Stanislav Rebbe, his father lived in London, the Stanislav Shul in London, and he's going back 50, 60 years ago, when Boruch was still called Treif. Okay? So Stanislav Rebbe told his son, you could go live wherever you want, either at Israel or London, but not in America. America is Treif. So sure enough, he got married, he lived in Israel, but for some refuahs, his wife had to come to America. Once he came to America, he opened a shul. He has a tiny shtibel, 40th Street, between 14 and 15. It's open only Shabbos. He davens for hours. He's a moediger over. The behalten tzaddik. The Kitzamai says, he was very tzibrochen. He came here, his family wasn't here, and his father told him, not America. And Hashem made he should come to America and be here, and he was very, very, very tzibrochen. So he went to Rachmastrivka Rebbe. Excuse me. He went to Rachmastrivka Rebbe, and he tells him that look, his matzav, he's stuck here, and he doesn't want to be here. His father was mitzvah him not to be here. So the Rachmastrivka Rebbe told him, "There's a Shloime Kalin is a word. He said, Hashem mekecha b'chol levavcha b'chol nafshecha b'chol meidecha." So Rashi says in one pshat, "Shelo yehei libcha cholek al hamokim." Your heart should not be separated than the mokum. Mokum means the Eibishter. Mokum Menahel means the Eibishter. Your heart should not be different and separate what Hashem wants. Whatever Hashem wants, accept and be connected what Hashem wants. Don't have two approaches in life. Hashem wants this, but I want this. Shalai libcha cholek ala mokum. That's the literal taich. But Rabbi Shlomo Kalina taich, mokum means also the place where you are. That if Hashem puts a person in a certain matzav, in a certain nisayon, in a certain place, if I would have this job, if I would have this shidduch, if I would have this, Hashem wants you in this place, and this place is your success, and this place you have to grow from, and this is your tzlach, and this is what Hashem holds as the best for your tikkun, your neshama, for you. So he told him these words, and he got tremendous chizik, that this was him. Whatever Hashem does is for the good. I remember when my Rebbe, the Stolen Rebbe, had COVID, he wasn't feeling well. I ran out to the hospital, I went over to Rachmastrivka Rebbe. I told him, and every day he asked, also he had an operation, every day he asked how he's feeling and sent messages to find for me how he's feeling. This was his Ahavas Yisrael, and Ahavas Torah and Mitzvahs was unparalleled. I heard a story, I know who it was, I don't want to say his name, versteht sich. Choshev Yid, he's a Rosh Hashiva. He's a Litvish Rosh Hashiva, but he's a little Chassidish also. And he loved Rachmastrivka Rebbe because he was a Talmud Chacham, and he spoke him a lot of learning and halacha. He was a very big Medaktik and halacha Rachmastrivka Rebbe. So he got very close to him. He came one Erev Yom Kippur to daven Shachris with the Rebbe. And they were machabed him to go to the Omid. He takes out a slichas and starts laying slichas. Ashrei yoshvei veisecho for Erev Yom Kippur. In Rachmastrivka, they don't say slichas Erev Yom Kippur. That's not the minig. They sent him over to daven Shachris, not to daven slichas. He didn't recognize. He thought he was daven slichas. What's going to happen now? Busy on this. Everybody's ready to start davening Shachris. Rachmastrivka Rebbe fast asked, bring me a slichas. Ashrei yoshvei veisecho. He can't talk with slichas. The head of Rachmastrivka Rebbe is? I know the person it happened to. I heard from Ramoshe Villige and the Wiener Dayan's son, they went together to Rachmastrivka Rebbe and Yisrael. When he went to visit Yisrael, they went together to him. And they waited outside till Rachmastrivka Rebbe comes to the door. They wanted to see the Rebbe. Came to Yisrael. And they held a bag in the hand. So Rachmastrivka Rebbe sees them with a bag. He tells them, "Oh, Mr. You know why you came to me? Mr. You came because you wanted me to take a package to America." So that I see the bag. Mr. You bring a bag. He didn't dream they're coming to visit him. So you bring, oh yeah, you want me to take a bag? And Ken Slagan do? The oldest Gabba, the one that brought the Rebbe to Borough Park, he used to live in Square 42 years ago, was a Gershon Greenwald. He brought him, he took care of him right in the beginning, before, when he had 20 people in the shul, a tiny shul. So he took him to the Skalener Rebbe, Friedrich, the Zayde of the Heintiger, not the Friedrich, the Zayde. They offered on this becher a cup of wine. So this Gershon tells the guy, don't give him wine, he's not going to drink. He doesn't mishach. On Pesach, you don't eat from others. See, this Rebbe, his own wine, his own salt, everything is his own. His own chickens, he doesn't eat from anything else. So he's not going to drink. The Rebbe hears what the Gabba tells that he's not going to drink. So he tells him, what are you telling mine? Mine a chumras, legnish of Yerem's cheshben. Because I have a chumrah, don't put it on Yerem's cheshben. And he drank the wine, because not to be vayish Yerem. I heard after Chalamoid, he told me he didn't want to go too many times out. He didn't want to come to such sticky situations. They don't have to hurt people. A similar story he told me happened by a chasana. He went to chasana, and they served the Rebbe a portion of chicken. It was a good hechsher, but he ate only his own chicken. He didn't eat any. So the Gershon tells him, don't bring him a portion. He's not going to eat it. People heard already that they said the Rebbe is not going to eat it. So he told him, you're going to be invited them? And I'm not eating the chicken. He was not good. And he ate the chicken. It was a good hechsher, but he was makbid on his own thing. Came to Yom Tovim. He lived the Yom Tiv. He was posh, pshutai, as is. It was real to him. Every mitzvah, every Yom Tiv was real as is. So once the Satmar Rebbe, the Boruch Moshe, with his son, the 15th came to visit the Rachmastrivka Rebbe, and the Gershon told me that he was there. And it was Sfira days between Pesach and Shavuos. So he wanted to speak in Yonah Chasidus, Avoida. So he asked Rachmastrivka Rebbe. Rachmastrivka comes from Chernobyl. So he asked, what was the Chernobyl Avoida in the days of Sfira? Like, what was their specialty? What did they do in these days of Sfira? He thought the Rebbe would say, oh, Torah with Mises. So he told him, Torah, what they say about the Sfira, Torah, Skadish, Bekdusha Shalmaila, Validezbe Yishpa Shefa Rav. There should be a chef and all good Sachen. When you say after Sfira, it's not just said, on the spur of the moment, this is what it is. His son, Rab Shimon, who was Gaba Shamash Rebbe for 30 years, told me that Shavuos, the second day Yom Tiv, while they were going to Mincha to Shul, the Rebbe tells his Gaba Shimon, he tells him, "Du weißt, mir geht sagen jetzt Ate b'chatonim mikol ha'amim. Ate b'chatonim mikol ha'amim. For months, for almost another half a year, we're not going to say it. What opportunity do you have? That was his achonah to Mincha, Shavuos Yom Sheni. He told me another story, this Rab Shimon. He was Meshamash because the Rebbe the last years he was very sick. He was there all night, many nights. It was Gimel 7, Tavshin Pei Beis, a year before his nifta. Middle of the night, 10 to 1 in the morning. And he was thinking of the Rebbe. Middle of the night, middle of sleep. He tells the Rebbe, tonight is my birthday. I want a bracha from the Rebbe. What bracha do you want? The Rebbe asked him. I want a bracha that I should be zoichet to be a good Mishamash Bakodesh for the Rebbe. So the Rebbe says, Ich bin a Rebbe? Am I a Rebbe? Euch mich a Rebbe. Like, oh, what kind of Rebbe? Halavai, wollte ich kein Zoiche sein. Zu sein a ehrliche Yid, in Makabel sein der Torah, wie sie darf zu sein. I wish I should be a ehrliche Yid, and be zoichet in Makabel Torah, the way it's supposed to. This is what he says in the middle of the night, before Shavuos Sfira, 10 to 1, when he's Mishamish. This is what he's doing. Alvai, I should be zoichet, shuket to Torah, shuket to mitzvah. The Rebbe never let anybody help him bring things. No coffee, can't make him a coffee, can't bring him a sefer. He made everything himself. He didn't anybody to mishamish me didn't let. Never. There's one time his closest man, Reb Gershon Chaptim, was Friday night after a whole big tish. He brought him a tea. He said, they didn't want to take it. So he begged him, listen, after a tish, he brought him the tea. So the Rebbe says, I can't be stubborn to always say that I have to make it myself. You see his avoid of being soft. Once the Rebbe Gershon, he told me that he had a question about a name, to add another name because the person that was nifta young. So he couldn't name Chaim because he had somebody in the family Chaim. So the Rebbe told him to add the word Ben Zion, Avram Abba Ben Zion his name is, because Ben Zion is also as good for Arichas Yomim. And he climbed up on a chair all to catch a sefer to show it to him. He couldn't ask one of the Gaboam to do it. No, I'm not going to be Mishamish Miyanim. This is what he was. He was always, he could do everything himself. Many times he did the blech himself. He cleaned the house. And once the Gabba, the Gershon, ran up to him, no, you can't clean the house. So he told him, the kvitlach, you also want to take over the kvitlach? That avoided to make it nice. You also want to do? Don't take it away from me. But he tells me that what he did let him do is to make a deposit in the bank. And every Friday he paid up the grocery store. Every Friday he sent them pay up the bill of the store. I heard from being a man, Abshalom Taub, a vision is a chassid. Vision is to kiss the Rebbe's hand. In Rachmastrivka in Chernobyl, they don't kiss the Rebbe's hand. He forgot. He went to Rachmastrivka's Rebbe's hand and gave it a kiss. And he felt so bad. He chapped that he's a vicious, but in Chernobyl, they don't do it. So Rachmastrivka Rebbe saw him, this younger man, that he feels bad. He said, nah, he made this nothing. But he didn't just do that. He took the younger man's hand and gave his hand a kiss. When in Chernobyl, the meaning nishtikish, he kissed the younger man, they shouldn't feel bad that he made a mistake. My son really tells me his friend, he has a friend that installed in yeshiva, he came from Baltimore. But he lived there, so he went to Rachmastrivka, so he became more Rachmastrivka Chassidus. So he went up to the Rachmastrivka Rebbe and asked him, could I change my hat from a stolen hat to a Biba hat, a Chassidish, the Biba hat? So what would he become Rachmastrivka? Why not? You want to change, why not? He was so sensitive, he tells him, this happened a few years ago. He told me a Yid was almost covered Tishim. He tells him, but aren't you could be embarrassed from your friends that you learn in yeshiva that they don't go with such a hat? Like a Chasidis, you go with such a hat, but you're not going to be embarrassed? This was his concern. I heard from Rab Abish Brot, Zayin Gesundte, he was a Rachmastrivka Chassid, very close to Rachmastrivka Rebbe. When he started the tapes over 40 years ago, there wasn't too many in the market, and then the trend was to be not so Hamish, not so from, but he was very strong that his Megunim are going to be Hamish. He made up he's not going to concerts, only small singing. He's not going to lower. He wants a good kid, Tamid Chacham, and he wants to be in a higher standard, not to do whatever others do. But then there came a big offer when the Iron Curtain opened up. They wanted to make a huge concert in Mekav Russisch to come. But then Yidden came, Goyim came. There's tickets for concert. Everybody went, but it was a big kirov. And he tells me even Moshe Scherer called them to come to Rosh. So he knew he made up he's not doing these concerts, and they wanted to be more different, not just tzarozach like they say. So he went over to he says he went over to Rachmastrivka Rebbe 40 years ago, and he asked him, what should he do? Should he go? It's kirov, but he made up he's not doing such things he doesn't want, especially the places taruvis and everything. Rachmastrivka says, I can't answer you today. He has to think it over. Tomorrow the Rebbe himself calls him up. He says, Abish, du sollst nicht. Du sollst teen of Dan Eufen. You keep on your way. You'll find enough opportunities your way to do kirov. A zweite soll es teen. Like he was so sensitive, he knew he doesn't want to do it, but they're pushing him to do it. And sure enough, he tells me half a year later, Matthias Salm had the organization, they went around all over. He do a lot of small groups. He sang in many towns. The same idea, but true kirov, not this. The point of him showing how sensitive he wants to Yenam's ruchnis, he wanted to be in a high standard, and the same thing, you have to think it over, and you'll find opportunities. This was the story of Abish told me, how he cared about kirov, and he cared about the sensitivity of everybody as well. He had a driver, well, not too many people know about him, but he drove him many, many years. His name was Reb Yanka Figa. It's a pachatige meise. About the story that I said before, that Nebuchadnezzar's son Ramotl was nifter, and he didn't make it to Ravaya, but he came to the Shloshim. So he had a certain travel agent that he used, which didn't give him the best service, but he didn't want to leave him not to hurt a Yid. Sure enough, he comes to the airport with his wife, with a few children. They're going to the Shloshim of Rachmastrivka. He lost his child. They come to the airport to get a ticket. They have tickets. Nothing available. The travel agent made him standby tickets for the Rebbe. Chutzpah! He's going for Shloshim. He's going for his child. Sitzach Getin dort, and there was Moshe Shurkus went over and tried to help. They told the Rebbe, no. Okay, I'll go tickets. Nothing happened. Right after he saw somebody who wants to be Shal Eitzah with him, thousands of people asking for Eitzahs. So he says, let's go. He walked with somebody. If nothing happened, the people around, the Neshama went out. How could you do such a thing to that? But he lost his child, and he wants to go. He's paying you top dollar, and you don't give him real tickets. Oh, there was a misunderstanding. Whatever it was, let's be there with the kafschus. But the point was, he was okay, he was calm, and he wanted to talk to everybody. How can I help you with Eitzahs? For Yenim. Because the Rebbe is what Hashem does, azoy is get. Midas is shtavas. This was his mahalach. I heard from somebody in Rebbe that he went through a very schwere get. He had tzoris, and he came to the Rachmastrivka, was so tzabrochen. So you should make a l'chaim. The day of a get, a l'chaim. The story of the Rab Shimon in Shiurai. If Hashem wants this, You have to thank Hashem what Hashem wants. This is what his Midas Hashtavas was. He told me another story, his driver. Years ago, he had a big station wagon. You know, remember those? He went with 7 people to the Vision Sachasana with Rachmastrivka Rebbe in the car, in the van, in the station wagon. And there was a big snow. He was going to the Chasana, and the wheels were spinning, and he had an anti-skid feature that the car locks itself. He didn't know how to get out of it. He didn't know there's a way to get out, a button to get out of it. And it was stuck in the road. They're thinking they're going to go push the car. Everybody's talking, let's go out and push it. It's not going. So the Rebbe asked, if I was finished, why aren't we traveling? So explain to him that the wheels are not moving. It's just turning in the snow, not going. So he said, so the Rebbe said these words, Siyata Dishmaya, help from the Eibishter, Siyata Dishmaya. As soon as he said those words, went. That's what he told me. He told me another story. He said 40 stories. There was a Nochas Evan Apina that they put on a big building and a camp or so, and everything was mud. So they put plywood on the floor for people to stand on. And they also put under, when the Rebbe's car is going to come to the stage, they put like panels. But panels. You put panels, the car goes to the panel, it shoots right back up behind the car, and the car sat in the mud. And the Rebbe's sitting there, and he was in a wheelchair already. So they had to open the door, and there's a button that opens up only when the car is like raised, and then he could go off with the wheelchair. And if there's snow or there's mud, the door doesn't open. The Rebbe's sitting in the car. They can't open the door. All the Chassidim came, put panels on top and the bottom, and it's not going. So the Rebbe asks, he sees there's a commotion. He says, what's going on? So he says, the Rebbe is in the blotter, in there. She said, try once more. He tried, just went out. The car picked itself up, the door opened, it went out. Mamish Moifsim, he says from the Rebbe, not to believe. There's another story which I used. Machaidik story. Once the Rachmastrivka Rebbe had to go to the Vision Rebbe in Monsi Fachasana, Biur Chuppah, and he chapped a dinner, took a nap. And the Rebbe was up till late at night and early morning, he came out and sleep a few hours. So they were so happy he's sleeping, nobody did wake him up. Not his Chassidim, not even his Rebbe didn't want to wake him up. They were supposed to leave at 3 o'clock, it was already 4 o'clock, and he's resting, he's not getting up. They didn't want to wake him up. The kids said till he woke up himself, and they go in the car and they tell the Rebbe they were holding by the FDR, and it was bumper to bumper. You couldn't move anywhere. They tell the Rebbe, we're going to come to not to the chuppah, we're going to come to the after the Suda. That's the way it's going now. And there was mamash stuck. The car wasn't moving. There was cars. So the Rebbe's asking him, what's Zitzman do? What is this? What's going on? Why aren't you moving? He says, the Kenish guy, you see, look outside. Everybody's sitting and not moving, and we're going to miss the chuppah. So the Rebbe said, Vayisui. As soon as he said the word Vayisui, that minute, from nowhere came 3 big police cars, and they were driving, and the Gabba drove right on, and went straight the whole FDR till the George Washington Bridge. They didn't see no police. Vayisui, suddenly from somewhere come out. 3, and it is straight, and he made it in time to the chuppah. Now, the pasuk Vayisui, I saw what it means, the pasuk Matit Sekelai, Dabal Bnei Yisrael Vayisui. But there it says Vayisui. I think it meant what it says in the Sidurim after Tfilas Haderech, the pasuk by the brothers of Young, Vayisou, that's Vayisou, Vayi Chitas Elakim Alahor Mashasvi V'Seim, V'Lerotzu Achrei Bnei Yaakov. That's pasuk he meant. I'm telling me to finish the pasuk. So I had to go to Eretz Yisrael. And I went first Kibbutz Vim to see my father and mother, then to say, where I go. And there was a bus, 15 minutes, stuck on the road. I couldn't get through. Then it took another 20 minutes. By the time I left, it was like an hour and after, 2 hours to the flight maximum. I was going so fast. I got a car service. I was going fast to the airport. And sure enough, bumper to bumper, you couldn't move anywhere. So my son reminded me, Rebbe, you know, Rachmastrivka Rebbe had a suit. We mentioned the story. 3 police cars came. We shot. And I'll tell you, when I came to the airport, everything was closed, but the first class still let me in. And they rushed me to the plane. And sure enough, when I came to Israel, Vayisui, my suitcases came out first. Another story, this Bianca Figuer, the driver, told me, that you see down Nova in the Shifras of the Rebbe. there was Rebbe Kurzner, was the Edom or Boruch Kaplan from Beis Yankov. He was nifter, Rebbe young, whatever. And the Rebbe went to Menachem Ovel. And the driver was sitting outside to wait for the Rebbe to come back out because he didn't have a parking. And the Rosh Hashiva also went to Menachem Ovel. I'm not going to say his name, obviously. And the Rosh Hashiva that didn't know the Rebbe, and the Rebbe didn't know him, asked the driver, "Could you take me home?" So he says, "I'm waiting for Rachmastrivka to come." He didn't know who he is, what he is. The Kitzamai said, so the Rosh Hashiva was still waiting outside. Maybe he knew his way in. The Rebbe came out. "Rebbe, could you take me a ride?" "What?" The Rebbe goes, sits in the front. He didn't know. He told me if he knew the Rosh Hashiva, he'd put him in the front. But he sat in the front, he sat in the back. This Rosh Hashiva was didn't know how to talk to tzaddikim, or to Rebbes at least. And he asked him, "What's the shaykh? Chassidische Yid with the literature, Bekurzner, like what's he shaykhs to him? What's he shaykhs?" Frek da reinkommen in Shmuz, he used to come talk to me. "Why did he come?" asked the Rosh Hashiva. He used to like to schmooze me. "What did he talk about?" So the Rebbe was going to tell it. And he was sick. About a mood of a tochen. Then he takes the gust to ask the Rebbe, like he really cared for him. "What's tust du for Parnasse?" Like, what does the Rebbe do for Parnasse? So he said, "Ich hab a shul, and Menschen come rein, people come in, and man lost etwas and they leave something over." You hear that another? This was the Rachmastrivka Rebbe. I heard from the son-in-law of the Rachmastrivka Rebbe, Menachem Luchem, this Shabbos, he told me this story. The Rosh Hashiva Rabbi David Hirsch Meyer from Stanford, he was also very close to Rachmastrivka Rebbe. A lot of Litvish people knew him, he was a big tzaddik. A Baal Tshuva, Chosn Kala, came to the Rosh Hashiva, Rabbi David Hirsch Meyer. They have a big friction between each other. They have too much money to spend. And one of them wants a dining room from Italia, $80,000 set, and one of them wants a bedroom set from Spain, and the whole furniture is like hundreds of thousands. They don't know how to do it, and they can't come to a conclusion. Which one should you get? So they come to him and ask him, "Could you try to make shalom?" He saw he can't deal with these people. Like it's Italy, 80,000, 20,000. It's just not, like. So listen, I can't help you, but I have a Rebbe tzaddik. Maybe he can give you advice. So they drove in with the Rosh Hashiva to the Rachmastrivka Rebbe to fragen about the furniture. You hear what's going on there? They come in, but he respected everybody. They come inside to the Rebbe. The Kala was sitting in the dining room of the Rebbe's house. Then it wasn't like now. Then it was in the house. So in the dining room of the house, the ladies went there, and the men went into the Gabba's room. So the Kala comes into the dining room, the Rebbe's dining room. He sees the Sforim Shank, the alte Sforim Shank. She got the pachat. What am I coming here to ask him about Italy and Spain? This is the wrong address. He's not going to know what I'm talking about. What am I coming here for? She got frightened. I see this Sforim Shank also. So she calls the chasna right away. They call the chasna. We have to get out of here. This is not the place to ask. Let's go and see what happens. They go into the Rebbe, and when they come to the Rebbe's small, tiny study, which he had then, it got even better. There, they had no normal bookcases. They had like shelves with Sforim. They got what? If the Rebbe doesn't understand him, their mouth froze. They couldn't say anything. They didn't know what to say. And the Rashi was trying to interpret and say what it. So the Rebbe said, "What's they get him in? What did they come?" He says, "The chos and the kala." But what did they want? They couldn't say. So the Rebbe gave them a big smile and winched them on. They said, "Zivigal Yofe, they Shiva Masliach and live," and gave them brachas, and they were very happy. They walk outside. They tell the Shiva, "We got our answers to all our questions. We see what's important in life. If such a big God Lador tzaddik could live like this, and it's not important, then we know what's important in life. We got the real answers to all our questions." Another thing, the Edom of the Rebbe told me, that every Sunday morning, it wasn't like us, we have the Lubavitch, they have the real Bekach, they had all the years, with all the onion kugel and potato kugel. And the cleaning day, whoever the deans came on Sunday morning to clean up all these. So the Rachmastrivka Rebbe, Motzei Shabbos, went every Motzei Shabbos to fill it up with hot water in order to be easier for the cleaning lady in the morning to clean it. He has that tzaddik. This is the greatest tzaddik that we lost. So many more miles. Let me just give another few because this mamish, this is a sudden life. The Rachmastrivka Rebbe knew all the tzaddikim of the previous generation. And he was by the Belzer of, about a Belzer, before he went to America to be a Edom by the Shlit Rebbe Zatzal, he gave him a chassan shmuz. He didn't give anybody, but for him he gave a chassan shmuz. And the Rachmastrivka asked him in the letter that he should be able to come back to Israel. They made up to come back. The Elozor Rebbe was laughing, like he's staying in America. Biz Mashiach had come in. But Kitzur Maisa is, he gave him a 2 hours chassan shmuz. And he never said what the Elozor Rebbe told him. But at the end of his life, they told him, he said one thing that we know that he said for sure, that shmuz. This is the following, because it has a whole story. He told him, the Elozor Rebbe told the Rachmastrivka, I know that the chassan is a bal derech eretz, but you should know this yisoid, that if this world is a culture of their welt, this world came down a weakness, a very big weakness, that a person says something, and someone does, makes a tnu against it, you come to a very big chalisha sadas. And a lot of people today, when someone says something different than you, so the Elozor Rebbe says, it was never like that. So he said different. You're allowed to say something else. You're allowed to open the window, he's allowed to close it. So what happened? He did different. So what's wrong? So you come in a chulch in this world, said the Elozor Rebbe then, over 70 years ago. A chulch in this world, that someone says something, and you do differently, it has tremendous chalisha shadas. Therefore, especially, never say different than other people. Especially when you're going unterwegens and the way you're traveling now, you have to be very, very careful not to be mevatel what other people say. It can make a tremendous chalisha sadas to people. It didn't sound like it has anything to do with the Rachmastrivka. He was so soft like butter, like you took the wrong person. But sure enough, the Elozor Rebbe Ducha Kodesh, and when the Rachmastrivka Rebbe traveled on the plane, someone that went off the derech without any payers or anything off the derech, he was from Philadelphia, but he stamped from Tzadikim. He sat near the Rachmastrivka Rebbe and he made him tzaras through his entire flight. Tzaras through this. Why do you go this? You still go Yiddish. You get him gedreit a kop. But he remembered what the Elozor Rebbe told him, so he listened to everything, tried to explain him everything, why I'm and Hagama like this, with an emis, with a sbora to understand. And everything, he never said anything different or wrong what he said, but he just explained him our side. After a whole discussion, when the emis explained him why and what, before he went off the plane, he tells him, you will machzeh me b'tshuva v'dishmuz. Because I saw how you respect me, and you explained me everything properly. It didn't end that. On the same plane, there was never a person that made very funny things, very funny faces, very funny things. And everybody around was laughing. They were laughing. He did such crazy things that people couldn't hold themselves back from laughing. And Rachmastrivka Rebbe sat there too, but he knew, chas v'shalom, if someone does something, laugh, you have to control yourself. And he's the only one that controlled himself not to laugh, because he knew what the Elozor Rebbe said, to be careful not to say or do different than other people tell him to do it. When he came to America, he had to get green papers, American papers to be able to stay here. But you had to have people that could give it to you, that you'll be responsible for you. There was nobody that could do it for him. So he just went straight without hope Hashem would help him. He didn't have any way to get papers. He comes there, somebody goes there, oh, hi, how are you? Doesn't know who he is. He takes him in, and he's talking to him, and he sees what, he makes this funny, this is the same guy that was on the plane. He's the one in charge of the papers. And he took care of him, everything. So he saw the Elozor. This is a murdiga lesson, that people have to be very careful in today's times, and I'm talking to myself too. It's not about the husband or wife, friend who's right. Even the techacha, after you give he used to say, you give a half hour good words, then you say, so how do you say it? What you say? It's oyem v'noya, how we looked at a person, how to give good words to a person. I'll tell you another Maisa. Moridik Maisa, that shows this point. He was the Menahel in New Square, right after Schassen, to be 60, 70 years ago. He started the state, like the Square Rebbe was on him to be in charge of everything. And he once had a terrible incident in a class with a boy. A father came over to him as on Holos HaYeshiva, that the Rebbe said wrong pshat in the Gemara. Shine. The Rachmastrivka Rebbe comes to Fed Talmidim, at the end of the week, Thursday it was, He has the Talmidim, and he comes to this Talmud, and the Talmud says in front of the Rebbe in the class, the Malamed, the Rebbe said the Pshat in the Gemara like this, but my father said that the Rebbe said a Fadreite Pshat, and the wrong Pshat, the Pshat is like this. I'm sure I was sitting like this. What am I supposed to do? He can't hurt the Talmud. He can't hurt the father. And he has to stick up for the Rebbe. What is he going to do now? Garnish. He went over to the Shvet Rebbe, Friedeke. What should I do? This is a terrible crisis. You can't be embarrassed a Rebbe in a class and a father. Benechese. Find a way how to do it, Benechese. So listen to the going in the Rachmastrivka Rebbe, Talmud, Abyssas Alma Melton, not only a going in Rambam. He went down like Thursday night. He learned over the Sugi Beam with all the Rishonim Acharonim, and he sees that the father in the Talmud is right. Most learn like him. But he found one Heilige, the Gedolah Acharonim, the Torah Chaim, that learned like the Rebbe. He comes in tomorrow, Friday, in the class. As a Menahel, let me blend the Gemara. Nice to take care of everybody. Listen how what he did. He learns over the Sug of the Gemara, and he says Pshat in the Gemara, and he says, some Mefarshim say, and he says the Pshat of the father and the Talmud. He doesn't want to disregard what he said. But in Sefer Torah Chaim, steht the Pshat like the Rebbe. Come to Chois, that what the Rebbe taught is Torah Chaim. It's Torah of life. Yeah, the goyness. That means he gave the plug for the Rebbe. They learned Torah Chaim. Like it says in Sefer Torah Chaim. It came to Chois, but the Rebbe is Torah Chaim. This is how he went in between. What happened was the Chochmah, the flaw of him, the Rebbe got his respected. He did Torah Chaim. The Talmud and the father, they learned the Derech Eretz. Nobody screamed at them. With an Emes, how he brought an Emes in them. And this was his mahalach in life. I'll take two more, we'll finish shortly. The square, new square, when they built a building, he was on holiday yeshiva matam the Friedeke Rebbe. So they brought the plan to him of the yeshiva, how they want to build a building of the yeshiva. How many classrooms, where's the dining room, where's the yeshiva, besmedish of learning. They show him the plan. He had one ha'ara on the plan. Where's the place for the Bochum was halten nicht beim Lernen? So what do you mean? He says, a Bocha, even though in the yeshiva we tell them that everybody can learn 4 hours straight and they can learn, but the Bochum, after hour, they have to, this is when he's, the Rachmastrivka Rebbe from the Friedeke Gedar, he understood the Talmidim. So he says, they come out to the hallway, they go straight to the street. They can't do it. You have to have a place for the yeshiva, for the Bochum was halten nicht ba'lernen. In other words, today's generation, most yeshivas, no complaint because they have too much work on what they're doing. They have a system. You don't follow the system, like a third of the yeshiva, they get fall between the cracks, and that's why we have so many noshim, so many kids off the derech. A yeshiva has to cater to Bochum that can learn only Bekiyas, to learn Mishnayos, Halacha. Wie is the Platz for the Bochum was halt nicht beim Lernen? This was his concern of the Heilige Rachmastrivka Rebbe. We have every Talmud. We need to care for every Talmud. This is the Heilig of Hilchas Binyan HaYeshiva. So those that have a system have to readjust the system to cater to every Talmud, whatever they need. This is what Rachmastrivka Rebbe taught us. I want to conclude. When the story happened, the whole form of Chodesh Elul, so read all the Asoris. With the story never happened in Kalin and Shavuos that the people were in Torah and Cholim. I went over to Rachmastrivka Rebbe and I bore him the names of all the Cholim, and in each one he said something else. I wish I would have recorded it. Each one he said something else. I wanted to follow what he's saying, each different words. I asked him, what's pshat to so many Torahs? He wasn't hocus pocus. Mahata Asuga? Do we know? So I told him, but what should we do? We want to become better. What should we do to be better? What should we do? So he said, Vus men tit soll man ti besser. Whatever you do, you should do better. I tell him, but what should I do something better? Whatever you do, you should do better. Okay? Makabel. I go out to the Gabel of Sheikh Haim Kasten. He understood what the Rebbe's language. Asked him, Vus meint the Rebbe? She says the Rebbe didn't hold of just starting something new that's going to last for a week or a month. Whatever you do in life, you want to be makabel something, your learning should be a little more, another few minutes. Be'ekamas, be'eches, deeper. You come more in time to davening, put more emphasis in your tefillah. Whatever you do already, adjust it to do it better. Do chesed, give more tzedakah, give a little more that should hurt you to give and you feel it's a schus to give. Do something more, was meant tut, zomentin besed. This is such a beautiful lesson that a person could go, a person on Shmir Sinai, he's trying a little better. And it's a tzlacha, kedusha, anything. This is what the Rachmastrivka Rebbe taught us. And I'll conclude now with a story, this make the Reb Chaim Kasha. Reb Leibel Willige, Zangesut, told me it's a personal story. It's not written anywhere and it's not recorded anywhere. He told me personally, I'm sure he's masking that I should say it for his chus. He went to Rachmastrivka Rebbe before Yom Lerom, they go to Tzaddikim for a kvittel, the daven for a ksivach simitoive. And he came to the Rebbe already, but a day before Rosh Hashanah he comes again to the Rebbe. 1 year. Rachmastrivka Rebbe, the thousands of people knows exactly Rebbe. So he tells me, I came to you because I don't feel Rosh Hashanah. A day before Rosh Hashanah, I don't feel in my bones Rosh Hashanah. So the Rebbe asked him, what are you doing? Like, you doing Chana? You doing some good things? So the Rebbe, I'm learning, I'm preparing myself. Ich zindig nicht, I don't do any Averis, I'm very careful. I just do not feel Rosh Hashanah is coming. So listen how Rachmastrivka Rebbe took a yid and what he did. He says, Zog tach nicht, don't be worried. Zog tach nicht. Morgen bei Nacht, tomorrow night, when the Chazan is going to start the Nusa with the Niggin before Boruch, and he's made with his hand the whole Truah with the Niggin. Oi, wird die spielen sich der Heubigkeit. You'll feel it, don't be worried. You'll morgen Nacht is schon feeling, you'll feel the Heubigkeit. This is the Rachmastrivka Rebbe. He really wanted to be, you don't always feel. Don't worry, you're trying, you do the best, you're going to feel. So why am I saying this? I'm saying this. Now, before Chodesh El, we have to do what the Rachmastrivka Rebbe said. Was mit it, you do better. No hocus pocus. Every bit of what you do, a bit better. And you'll get there, mit Hashem. You're going to spear, you're going to feel the Rosh Hashanah away. If you do what you can, sur meira, away from Ra, vasei tov, Hashem will help all of us to be zeichen, taksivach simeteva, lono l'cho Yisrael. Amen ve amen.
Shem Irgun Shiurai Torah, Moses Boston like to thank, give by Yashikar by Volt for tonight's drosha. Whoever would like to still have a chelik in a Botzes Torah, Irgun Shiurai Torah, throughout the year, worldwide, there's a credit card machine here on the front table. You can call 718-851-8651 or email ist@yeshivanet.com. Shikar to everyone for coming. Chananya ben Akashem, Motzkedesh Boruch Lezakis, as Yisrael, Figure Hebel, Am Tayamit, Shenem Adonai Chofetz, Aman Sidkei, Yagdol Torah V'Yader.